Hey, what's happening? This is Uncle Kracker, and you're listening to the Midwest Mixtape Podcast. You don't know how you met me, you don't know why you can't turn around and say goodbye. All you know is when I'm with you, I make you free and swim through your veins like a fish in the sea. I'm singing, follow me, everything is alright. I'll be the one to tuck you in at night. And if you want to leave, I can guarantee you won't find nobody else like me. I'm not worried about the ring you wear, 'cause as long as no one knows.
All right, welcome to the Midwest Mixtape Podcast, live from the Barn Studio in Southeast Missouri. You got the Mox here. And I'm joined online right now with what I'm calling the king of the summer banger, Mr. Uncle Kracker. Uncle Kracker, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, Mox. What's the word?
Hey, not much. We're excited. You're visiting Missouri 3 times this summer. So we're lucky to have you. We're going to have you June 28th in Poplar Bluff, Missouri at a killer show, Rock the Country. And then July 4th at Lake of the Ozark, which is a great place. And August 11th at Washington, Missouri Fair. So 3 times you're hitting our area and our region this summer.
That's right. I can't get enough of Missouri, it looks like. I didn't realize I had 3 there this summer.
Yeah, you got to talk to your booking agent about that, I guess. Be like, hey, what's all this about?
Oh, man. I'm happy to be there. I got to be honest.
Yeah, and the Midwest treats you pretty well, right? It's a good market for you guys. You've toured that market. We've toured all markets worldwide at this point, but the Midwest has always been pretty good to you, I'd imagine.
It has been. It has been. I've been really lucky. Just maybe because I'm a Midwest kid, but Missouri's always been really cool to me.
Hey, I want to ask you. You mentioned the Midwest thing. Obviously, Detroit and Michigan. You guys just had the NFL draft, and you guys showed up like crazy. I've never seen that. Were you able to catch any of that?
I caught a little bit of it. You talking about all the people? Like,
yeah.
Say 275,000 people. We haven't had that many people in Detroit since 1966, probably. It's been probably since before the riots. I think that's the last time we had that many people down there.
And further along, and I'm a St. Louis guy, so I know the kind of jokes that come along with that. Oh, you're from St. Louis, you're from Detroit, watch your stuff, you're going to get robbed at any point. But you've always kind of waved the flag, and you've been proud, and you've had that prideship in where you're from. Is that important to you for people to know that?
It is important. It's important just because, like you said, well, Detroit's had a bad rap for a long time, and I guess I didn't realize it until I started touring early on, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. My goodness, how old am I? But, I didn't realize how good Detroit had it and how other people look towards Detroit with the big 3 being up there and jobs and things like that. When they all got in trouble, everybody was like, let them burn. But Detroit I've always said this, Detroit's a great place to live and raise a family. It's not a great place to visit. You're not missing out if you're not visiting Detroit, but it's a great place to live and grow up. And, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Very proud people, hardworking, proud people. And, it's happy to be from there.
And I'd say similar to St. Louis, I tell people that's not from this area that I'm from St. Louis, and they're like, oh my gosh, do you carry a gun? And like, I've lived here my whole life. I'm 43. I haven't experienced many of the things that they talk about, if any at all. And I feel comfortable taking my family down to a Cardinals game or, a Battlehawks game, whatever it is. And I just, people talk about that. And I think that's
somebody Herzog.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Whitey just passed. Yep.
Coleman's still around.
Vince Coleman. Yeah. Yep.
He's still around. Okay.
He's still around. Willie McGee's a part of the team and he's coaching now. So
yeah. Smith. Man, I remember that was like, I don't know. I think I'm just reading off my 1985 Topps collection. Right.
I probably got some of them around here somewhere. Hey, we talk about these shows, and you are currently on tour with Kenny Chesney as part of that tour. You have a massive show coming up just a few days from now, recording this. You have several, but I want to specifically talk about playing Jerry's World. You know, we're talking a little sports here. AT&T Stadium in Arlington, May 11th, Saturday. What's that going to be like for you? Are you excited about it? How do you prepare for something of that magnitude?
Those shows are so off the chain. Like they're not even like it's you can't even prepare for it. This I just think like, my last X amount of years of playing and has been preparation for it because it doesn't matter what you do. As soon as you step out there, it's a whole that stadium is a whole different ball game, a whole different world. Uh, it's not like me showing up and playing the Dewdrop Inn on Front Street or whatever. It's a different world, man. It's hard to hate. I gotta be honest, man. The adrenaline with all them people is insane.
I really like this quote from you. It's actually on your website. I really subscribe to the mindset of just having fun. And I think your music expresses that, sort of an extension of that. Is that still how you feel? You mentioned being 25 years into this. Are you still having fun?
Well, I am. I'm having fun. I did go through a pretty I don't want to say dark period because I'm not a dark person, but I did go through a lot of years of like, not putting my thumb on, like just being not miserable, but just being like, just not caring at all. I went a few years without doing that, and it finally dawned on me that like there was some things that needed to shift, whether it be like employees or things like that. The dumbest thing can destroy morale easily, right? So if it ain't fun, it ain't worth a dime to me. I can do just going out. I just feel like if I'm gonna leave my house, I'm gonna have fun doing it. There's no other reason to leave the house, right?
So many people have tried and failed, honestly, in the music business, in the music industry. And here you are decades later. What do you attribute that success to? Where did that, I'm sure some of it is in that you enjoy your job, right? Because you have to have that motivation and want to go to work. But what do you attribute most of that success to?
I gotta be honest. I think part of it is you're right. I enjoy it. Uh, the other thing is, as much as I have enjoyed it, I haven't showed that I've enjoyed it that much. Like once you don't want to be up there smiling. Otherwise people. I think caring a lot less. I learned early on to care a lot less, and it just kind of like I think that was a I don't know. I'm trying to remember the old adage I heard: the one who cares the least wins the most, or something like that, right? But it was and that I probably worded that all wrong, but I think it is to having fun and not caring. And when I say not caring, I don't mean it in a weird, mean way. I mean it in a whatever's going to happen is going to happen, right? It was I never was worried about what people were going to say about me. I was never worried about because just getting out on a stage and going into a studio and playing things that you've written and recorded for people, especially nowadays, man, with the internet, people are vicious, fucking vicious, right? So if I had to do that nowadays, like and read some of these comments, it would be you know what? I remember a long, long time ago, my first album came out, and I was on tour with Kid Rock. My album had came out, and David Allen Coe called me when I was getting picked up from the airport. I was driving home, and it was funny because on the radio at the same time, I could hear them playing my song, and it was the first time I'd heard it on a radio. So I was like, David, hold on 1 second. They're playing my song on this radio. So I put the phone down and I listened to my entire song on the radio while driving home. 45-minute drive home from the Detroit airport. But I picked the phone back up, and David Allen Coe is still on the other end. And I'm like, man, I'm so sorry. I just heard my song on the radio for the first time. He's like, well, I'm glad I was here to be with you for it. He goes, that's why I was calling you. He had read a couple things about we started talking about the reviews, and he goes, man, let me give you a little bit of advice. Don't you go reading none of that shit. He goes, because you're going to find yourself believing it. If somebody's writing something good about you, you're going to believe it. And if you believe the good shit, you got to believe the bad shit. He said, so just do yourself a favor and don't fuck with none of it. It was, and I think that's what I mean when I say I learned early on just to care a lot less than I should in that regard.
That's pretty profound from old DAC. Have you heard from him a little bit? I know some people are kind of concerned with his health.
I mean, it's been probably a few months since I've talked to him. He's not a spring chicken, that's for sure. So I can see how people would be concerned, for sure. And shit, none of us are spring chickens anymore. But no, that just reminds me I should reach out for sure.
We have something in common. I'm a girl dad. I have 3 daughters. And dude, I'm kind of a guy's guy. I'm a big, there we go. Fist pump that.
Fist pump.
I'm kind of a guy's guy. I'm a big, strong, tough guy, I think maybe some people would say. But when it comes to my daughters, I am the biggest softy that there can be. Right. And even I cannot, after I probably listened to Letters to My Daughters with, I think you co-wrote it with David Allan Coe.
I did.
Maybe once, and I will never listen to it again because I will bawl like a baby. Tell us, yeah, I'm a softy when it comes to that stuff. Tell us about writing that and that co-write.
So I had met David early in the Kid Rock days when I was doing my solo album. We had the Kid Rock record was blowing up really, really big, and I had gotten a solo record deal with Atlantic Records, and we were on tour in a bus recording my first album. We had pulled into like Dallas, Texas, somewhere to play. Yeah, we were playing the Bronco Bowl, I think, somewhere in Texas, and David Allen's bus was out there. Well, David Allen's son, Tyler, I think it was Tyler that was, I think he was being a 14-year-old son, and they weren't getting along, as father and son. You know how it goes when you're 14, your dad don't know shit. But I think Tyler was reading Kid Rock's some stuff in a magazine where Kid Rock was talking about David Allen and how great he was. And then I think maybe all of a sudden his dad was a lot smarter than he thought he was. But I think it was one of those scenarios why David reached out to Kid Rock and met him that day in Dallas. And he and I have stayed in contact all these years ever since. Well, sorry, I was writing and recording that record. And as we were talking and becoming buddies, I said, man, I'd love to write with you for this record. And that's when he came up with the Letter to My Daughters idea, because I was on the road and it almost didn't make the album because I was a little farther into the album process, but it almost didn't make the record because it was so late in the process, not because it wasn't any good. That's what it was. We did it it didn't make the first record. It was on the second record is what it was. That's what it was. Can't even explain how off the top of his head, smart, crazy, witty, and fun he is to write with. Like he's literally he's like a what do you call it? Like a super. He's superhuman. He's just a wizard when it comes to writing songs. I think David Allan Coe is one of the greatest songwriters of our time. I can't give him enough credit though. As many songs as I listen to his still to this day, so dope.
Yeah, we love that one, but it is banned on my Spotify. We will not be playing that one. It's a great tune though, bro. It's really a great tune.
Thank you.
No, your time's pretty limited today. We're going to let you get out of here. I do want to ask you about one thing, kind of talking a little bit about the past. I want to ask you about Woodstock 99, playing Woodstock 99, as a part of Kid Rock's band. What do you remember about that show? And did you see the documentary? And what did you think about the documentary and how it portrayed some of the artists?
I did not see the documentary, but I remember our day at Woodstock like it was yesterday. It was absolutely insane. We went on pretty early in the day, like in the pretty early in the morning. I've only heard about this documentary. I haven't seen it. I heard it's really good. But I can say that Woodstock was nuts, the entire thing. Uh, while we were there, it was just fun. People were having fun. I mean, there was the bottle thing that Bob told everybody to throw the water bottles, but nobody got hurt or nothing through that. And it was all in fun just to make it look like something crazy was happening for the video, right? It was we were so in and out of there that day too. I remember that because we had spent probably almost 3 years touring Devil Without a Cause, and we were selling out clubs, and we were set to go into arenas. But before we went into arenas, they sent us to Europe for like a month straight, and we were playing like little dumb bars where they didn't speak English. And I just remember being like in Europe for a month, miserable because it was just dumb. But we ended up coming back a month later, and we landed from Germany to Woodstock to play that day. And that's why I'll never forget it. There was a lot involved with us that day. And then of course there was the backstage, Puff Daddy was backstage, Wyclef Jean was backstage, Vern Troyer, just all these people running around. We've been on the bus for 3 years, running around the country playing bars and clubs and watching this TV going down the road. And it's just funny to come down to Woodstock, and it was close to New York City. So everybody come out for it, right? It was like a big who's who of whatever. But I do remember it. It was nuts. We were pretty in and out though that day. We weren't sticking around because I think we had the MTV musical or MTV Video Awards thing to do with Run DMC and Aerosmith. So we had to get out of there and rehearse for that back in the city. But so we didn't stick around for none of the fires and shenanigans, thank goodness.
Probably a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the Midwest Mixtape Podcast. Joined here with Uncle Kracker. We're gonna be catching you 3 times this summer. June 28th at Poplar Bluff, Missouri. July 4th at Lake of the Ozarks. You're gonna have a great time there. And then August 11th at the Washington Town and Country Fair. Really appreciate your time today. We're big fans here, and looking forward to having you in town this summer.
Thanks, Mox. I appreciate you having me on. I really do.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, brother.